Welcome to Movie Quotes and Recaps. Today I am going to recap the 1998 movie Armageddon. Millions of years ago, an asteroid 6 miles wide hit planet Earth with a force of 10,000 nuclear weapons. Creating a suffocating blanket of dust, the sun is unable to penetrate for 1,000 years. 65 million years later, the space shuttle Atlantis is fixing a satellite when a meteor shower happens, killing the entire crew. While back at NASA, Dan Truman can only watch what is happening on the monitor. Meanwhile, the Pentagon Space Command detected the incoming object and thought it could be a surprise attack. The president is notified of the space shuttle Atlantis explosion. Truman divided his team into 3 groups, each with a different task. At the same time, a retired U.S. Navy officer spots the burning shuttle in space with his big telescope. General Kimsey ordered the military status to DEFCON 3. Early in the morning, meteorites bombard New York City and several other parts of the world. Kimsey called Truman, and Truman said it was a meteor shower that took out the shuttle. Kimsey said the president is in Air Force One, demanding an answer. Carl called NASA, and upon learning he was the first to see it, he wanted to name it after his wife, which he refers to as a vicious, life-sucking woman from which there's no escape. Moments later, Truman orders the Hubble telescope to be moved and capture the incoming asteroid by photo. They briefed the president on the incoming asteroid, which is the size of Texas. Truman explained that if this asteroid hit Earth, no one would survive, not even bacteria. Then a man rushed to inform Truman that they had only 18 days until it hit Earth. Meanwhile, in the South China Sea, Harry Stamper's oil rig company is drilling for oil. Harry found out that A.J. Frost disobeyed his order. He went to A.J.'s room and found a women's bra that belonged to his beautiful daughter Grace. Harry is mad at A.J. for screwing his daughter and starts shooting him with a shotgun. At NASA, Truman is getting frustrated by the suggestions he is getting from his team, saying they only have 18 days and must have a realistic idea if they want to save the Earth. Meanwhile, Truman and Dr. Ronald Quincy are in a meeting with General Kimsey and other officials. Quincy suggests destroying the asteroid from within by bringing in the best oil drillers on the planet. Later, an Air Force helicopter lands on their rig, and a colonel asks Harry to come with him without asking any questions, but Harry will only go if he brings his daughter along with him. Harry and Grace arrived at NASA Houston, Texas, where they were welcomed by Truman and Kimsey. Truman explained to Harry about the incoming asteroid that would destroy all living organisms on the planet. Later, Truman shows Harry a drill design that they stole from him a few years earlier and asks what is wrong with it. Truman wants Harry to prepare the team that's going to the asteroid to drill a hole and drop some nukes. Harry is disappointed by the plan, saying he's sure that they will be good astronauts, but they don't know much about drilling. Not trusting anyone else to do it, Harry agreed to help Truman by bringing his own team. Harry starts calling his team, starting with Bear, probably the only black man on a big dog in Kadoka, South Dakota. Next is Max. They find him with his mother while he's being tattooed. Then Rockhound. They find him in one of the bars in New Orleans. Oscar Choi, he owns a horse ranch outside of El Paso. Charles Chappell. FBI find him in Caesar's Palace, Las Vegas, Nevada. And finally, A.J. Harry personally went to see him and convinced him by saying, "There's not a job on the planet I want you to work with me on." When all his team arrived at NASA, Harry explained to them the situation and asked if anybody would say no. Meanwhile, Kimsey is not happy with the group, saying he would even trust them with a potato gun. Truman convinces him anyway. Harry's team starts their medical and psychological test, in which the doctor says that they all failed. Then Truman said he only wants to know if they can physically survive the trip, and the doctor said, "I don't know how they survived the test," and approved their paper. They immediately started their 12-day, rigorous training program. They meet their mission commanders. Colonel Willie Sharp and NASA pilot Jennifer Watts will command the X-71 Space Shuttle Freedom, while Colonel Davis and NASA pilot Tucker will command the other shuttle, the Independence. The men are introduced to a massive, tank-like drilling rig called the Armadillo, one of which will be carried on each shuttle. As the asteroid was nearing Earth, Truman explained to the crew their flight plan, in which they must detonate the bomb before it passes the zero barrier. Harry is looking for Grace and finds her with A.J. Harry doesn't want his daughter to marry a roughneck, and he said that he will deal with it when they get the job done. The next day, Harry explained that they only have 8 hours to drill and need to reach 800 feet in order to split the asteroid along the fault line. They trained on an underwater simulation where A.J. was almost removed from the team for disobeying an order. Later, Harry asks Truman to let his team off the base to give them time for their families and to remind them what they are fighting for. The next day, the team went off the base, and A.J. spent his time with Grace. Chick visits his son and give a small toy space shuttle, while the others spent their night at the club. Meanwhile, Shanghai is hit by a meteor shower, and the death toll reaches 50,000. The next day, the world knew about the incoming asteroid, and NASA started the preparations for its launch. Later, Grace talked to Harry and made him promise that he would come back and bring her fiancé back with him. Then the president gives a speech on national TV. I address you tonight, not as the President of the United States, not as the leader of a country, but as a citizen of humanity. We are faced with the very gravest of challenges. The Bible calls this day Armageddon, the end of all things. And yet, for the first time, in the history of the planet, a species has the technology to prevent its own extinction. All of you praying with us need to know that everything that can be done to prevent this disaster is being called into service. The human thirst for excellence, knowledge, every step up the ladder of science, every adventurous reach into space, all of our combined modern technologies and imaginations, even the wars that we've fought, have provided us the tools to wage this terrible battle. Through all the chaos that is our history, through all of the wrongs and the discord, through all of the pain and suffering, through all of our times, there is one thing that has nourished our souls and elevated our species above its origins, and that is our courage. Dreams of an entire planet are focused tonight on those 14 brave souls traveling into the heavens, and may we all, citizens the world over, see these events through. Godspeed and good luck to you. The president finishes his speech. Meanwhile, NASA checks that all communication is good. The countdown starts, and the shuttle is launched into space. They dock at the Russian space station to refuel. Unfortunately, there has been a leak in the fuel rod. They managed to get enough fuel and were able to escape, even bringing the Russian astronaut aboard the Independence shuttle. After a few days, the shuttles are in position to make a slingshot around the moon. The Independence and Freedom crew brace themselves as they will experience a maximum thrust of 13 g. The Independence and Freedom crews were amazed and shocked at the same time as they took a closer look at the asteroid. They start descending while avoiding the tail debris of the asteroid. The Independence is struck by debris, crippling its main thrusters, and soon crashes into the asteroid. Meanwhile, Freedom was able to land but overshot their landing and ended up on a place compressed by iron ferrite. Meanwhile, AJ, Lev and Bear survived the crash. Harry and his crew start the drilling, but their drill head is damaged after 10 feet, and blew their transmission at 57 feet. While Harriet and Chick are getting the new transmission, the timer on the nuclear bomb turns on. Colonel Sharp told Harry that it's the secondary protocol, which means it's being detonated remotely from Earth. Sharp and Gruber turn the bomb off, and they start drilling again. Later, the ground shake, and Harry told Max to shut down the drill, but it was already too late, and the armadillo exploded, killing Max. With no more hope left, Harry told Sharp to prepare the world for the bad news, when suddenly, AJ arrive with the armadillo. And they start drilling again. Harry asks AJ how deep they are now, when suddenly they encounter methane gas. Harry told AJ to stop and back it down, but AJ want to push through. And ask him that if he ever trusted him once in his life, he should trust him now. Then Harry let AJ to make the call, and AJ pushed through. And they hit the 800 feet mark. But when they were about to put the bomb inside the hole, Sharp said that the timer and the remote detonator were damaged, and one of them must stay behind. They decided to draw straws, and AJ is the one who stays behind. Harry accompany him in the elevator, and when AJ is about to leave, Harry disables AJ's air supply and takes his place, saying to him that his job now is to take care of Grace. When the space shuttle is outside the blast radius and the bomb does not explode, Sharp intends to go back, but Chick stops him, saying to wait 1 minute. Then AJ said to Sharp that Harry will do it because he doesn't know how to fail. Then, as Harry pressed the button, a flashback memory of Grace happened, and the bomb exploded, causing the asteroid to split in two and miss the Earth by 400 miles, at the cost of his own life. In the wake of one of the massive pieces is the Freedom, heading for home. On the ground, celebrations take place around the world that the asteroid threat is gone. The remaining men and women of Freedom and Independence return to Earth as heroes. As the Freedom touches down, it is met by the fire crews and families of the astronauts. AJ reunites with Grace, Chick is met by his son and former wife, and Colonel Sharp meets with Grace and offers his gratitude and admiration for her father's bravery and selflessness. As the end credits roll, we see Grace and AJ's wedding. The guests include Colonel Sharp, Bear, Rockhound and Molly, Lev Andropov, and Chick and his former wife, Denise. Thank you for watching movie quotes and recaps. And for more videos, please hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell.